Alright everyone, link in the description, not archived of course, it's just a tweet. The Equal Rights Amendment has not, in fact, been ratified. There is no 28th Amendment. You're seeing a lot right now from the outgoing Biden administration. Biden, Harris, other liberal figures, claiming that the ERA has been properly ratified. The White House archivist has confirmed that it has not been ratified because there was a due date on ratification. It was not ratified by enough states by that due date, so it has not become a constitutional amendment. The Equal Rights Amendment, again, is one of those on paper good, in practice bad things. The idea is, well, we're going to have equal rights for everyone. Well, who doesn't want equal rights? That's a good idea, right? We're all Americans. We should all be able to do whatever the fuck we want. It's almost individualism when you think about it. But the fact is that it's really just liberal politics when you actually dig into what it pertains to, and it has not been ratified. Biden does not have the unilateral authority to declare that a constitutional amendment has been ratified. And several states that were going to ratify it, by the way, have gone in the other direction and decided to de-ratify it. Well, then you don't have enough states. Even if Joe Biden were capable of saying, okay, enough states have ratified the amendment, therefore it's now a constitutional amendment, you don't actually have enough states to declare ratification. This is effectively just grandstanding. This is Biden's last blast. In 2 days, Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated. By the way, apparently switching venues to indoors because of freezing temperatures. I'll get into that separately. But the ERA is not ratified. The archivist for the White House has already declared this. Harris, this morning, put out a statement and is like, oh, well, the 28th Amendment is now a thing. But you don't have the authority. It requires either enough states to ratify officially, and it has to be all confirmed and sealed and docketed, sealed, signed, and delivered, or you need an act of Congress with a supermajority in order to create a constitutional amendment. Biden is not a member of the legislature. He does not represent a state. He represents the federal government. Harris is, likewise, not a member of Congress, does not represent anything but the federal government in the position of VP. They don't have the ability or the privilege of actually ratifying anything. They can give it their tacit approval. They can encourage states to ratify it, but they can't do anything further than that. And so when we see Joe Biden saying these things, effectively he's skipping out on the Constitution because the Constitution doesn't even give him the right to create a constitutional amendment. That's the crazy irony of the situation. What I think he's doing is trying to ingratiate himself to the left, number one, and create a conversation about the Equal Rights Amendment, number two, outgoing. He's not going to be in office in 48 hours. Donald Trump will be in office in, 50 hours or thereabouts. He won't be in office anymore. So he's trying to spark a conversation before he leaves because he wants people to be talking about him afterwards because of his ego more than anything else. I strongly doubt that you're ever going to get enough states to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment because people already have equal rights in the United States anyway. There's no need to have such an amendment. It does not need to exist. People are treated equally in the United States. I mean, unless it's dependent on wealth, of course. If you're wealthy, you are treated differently than if you are completely impoverished, for example. Other than that, though, other than civic discrimination in that sense, which is going to exist anyway, there's no way you can get rid of it, people are treated equally. The fact that you're black doesn't mean you don't get a fair public trial. Well, I mean, in some states it does, but, that's beyond the point. The fact that you're female doesn't mean that you can be enslaved and be forced to wear the Handmaid's Tale fetish outfit, which liberals often buy online. The fact that you're male, well, I guess you can discriminate against males. That's okay. You're allowed to do that. White, straight males, whether they're Christian or not, by the way. Other than that doctrinal discrimination, which happens at the federal government level, by the way, discrimination is relatively absent in the United States, and people who haven't experienced other cultures, I think, or studied them, don't seem to understand this. Go to Korea. There are stores where you will not be admitted unless you are Asian. unless you look Korean. The same is true in Japan. If I go to Japan, there are stores that will bar me from entry for being a white male. Yeah, that's just the way that it is. Go to the Middle East. Fucking go to the Netherlands, for example. The Netherlands are far more ethno-nationalistic than virtually any group of Americans. And Americans wouldn't understand this. When they go as tourists to like Western Europe or something, it must be a little bit of a shock to them to find out that other people prefer their own ethnic majority and that there is a level, not necessarily doctrinal civic discrimination or anything like that, but there's a sense of you're an outsider. You're not in the inner circle, so to speak. In the United States, it's exceptionally cosmopolitan for the most part, especially here in New England. You come to New England, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. We don't need an equal rights amendment. We've already got equal rights. But it hasn't even been ratified. There's no reason to ratify it. Joe Biden can pretend and do make-believe, because he's delusional all day, that the ERA has been ratified and that there's now a 28th Amendment. By the way, again, the link in the description, the people over on Wikipedia are playing make-believe too and pretending that it has been ratified. But it has not been ratified. You do not have enough states. Even if Joe Biden had the executive authority to unilaterally declare that a constitutional amendment had been ratified, you would still need either the states or the federal legislature in order to actually create the amendment in the first place, and it's just not there. There are not enough states. Again, the archivist has confirmed this and says, no, I mean, based on the ratification scheme, it's not been ratified. We're not recording it at all. Well, there's a reason for that. But Joe Biden has spent his entire presidency, his selectionhood, his stewardship, pretending that the Constitution doesn't exist. Name an amendment that he hasn't attacked other than quartering troops in people's homes. Other than that, I can't think of an amendment he hasn't violated yet. We've still got slavery in the United States. It's called prison. We've still got discrimination against women. It happens at the government level. We've had plenty of attacks on free speech, privacy, the Second Amendment, certainly, over and over again. Joe Biden is no fan of the U.S. Constitution. I like how he professes that we're devolving into oligarchy. Oh, our rights are being threatened by the incoming administration. And I'm really sad for America. Dark times are ahead. Talked about that the other day. It's like, you've spent your whole presidency attacking most of the Constitution. What are you talking about? It's like, what's next? Is Joe Biden in the 11th hour? He's going to remove women's suffrage or something like that. I wouldn't even be surprised. Well, you know, not enough of them voted for me, so I've decided to unilaterally strip their right to vote and put them barefoot and in the kitchen, pregnant with a Handmaid's Tale outfit or something like that. Joe Biden's nuts. And Kamala Harris, somehow, she's even more insane. I mean, the statement that she put out, well, the 28th Amendment now exists, equal rights for all. You already have them. It's unnecessary, and it hasn't been ratified. That's about all. Peace out.